very well now.
Oh, where's you working?
very good for her.
A real world kick then, huh?
Yeah.
Where's she going next year? Is she going yet?
NCC.
There you go. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming. Congratulate her for us.
He wheeled out some last meeting.
Hi, what's up? It changed. They said no. What if we bought it and just
Alexandra said she has a cheer thing.
well, no, I think what they're doing is they're donating
to butters and like
to whatever country it's from. Because that's what you kind of indicated to me last year was that they're, oh, this is great.
I mean, if they're in a basketball game, maybe.
Okay.
Because it starts.
Well, all right, look,
The basketball game.
2 nights is pretty good. Okay, so that's so sure. Do they have any? Like, they do it. Yeah, they make. I mean, I know they make. Hey, you know what? We are the only ones that ever got to use it. And we should be thankful for that. Nice. Close?
tag you.
There you go. Yeah.
I usually download it at At least they did. I know they changed stuff. Try this one if it doesn't work.
No, I don't.
That would be fun, except this headquarter after my wife went out, she didn't want to try my new practice. I had done that since I was working here. Here I'm rushing. Yes, I can. Starting home.
Not if they don't have a Chromebook.
She says they're going. Yeah, she says they're going there. Oh no,
Kevin?
January 21st, 2020 meeting of the Woodstock Community Unit Schools Continuing Board of Education. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The roll call, please.
Dr. Bidwell, Barrett, Mr. Gilmore,
Here.
Mr. Headley, Mr. Como,
Here.
Mr. Maselli,
Here.
Mr. Parisi,
Here.
Here.
Okay. The first item on our agenda is our consent agenda. It's printed in your materials. There's also an addendum, an employment addendum. Do any board members wish to remove any items from the consent agenda?
2.2.
Okay. Any other items wish to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay. Take a moment to review that, please. When you're ready, there's a suggested motion on the bottom of the first page of your materials. Please remember that we're pulling item 2.2.
Move to waive the reading of and approve the consent agenda as printed in the board agenda, except for item 2.2. And I'm sorry, we're pulling 2.2 the addendum as well, or just? But including the January 21st, 2020 personnel addendum. Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Parisi to approve the consent agenda without item 2.2, but including the addendum. It has been seconded by Mr. Headland. Roll call, please.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Casali?
Yes.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Holmove?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes. Okay, then we'll need a motion with respect to item 2.2.
Move to approve item 2.2, the consent agenda as printed in the board.
Motion by Mr. Parisi, do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Headley. Roll call, please.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Casali?
Yes.
Mr. Holmove?
Abstain.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes. Okay, then on to our next item. The next item on our agenda is our recognition.
We're honored tonight to have so many students to honor here tonight, families. We start with Prairie Elementary and the Altruismo House for their great food drive between the 2nd and 17th of December. 5th grade students at Prairiewood organized and planned, advertised the drive, packed food, supplies, and over the course of 12 days they collected 1,089 pounds of food, paper products, technology, and cash. For then delivered to Woodstock. We want to honor them for their great work. And then we have from our high schools outstanding achievements. First, we have our top scorers in the 2019 SAT. We're going to honor students that scored a 1,300 or better, bringing them the top 10% of all students nationally who took that test. For both high schools, then we have our Illinois State Scholars. We have 42 members of the class of 2020 that have been recognized as Illinois State Scholars, awarded annually by Illinois Student Assistance Commission, which is the state central provider of college aid. Only the top 10% of seniors from more than 700 high schools in Illinois qualified for this distinction. It's based on a combination of SAT, or ACT, academic performance, class rank, and into the community year. We ask you to honor those students tonight for their great achievements.
Okay, there's a suggested motion on page 56 of your materials on the board book.
Move to introduce the following resolution. Whereas the Board of Education of Woodstock Community Unit School District 200 wishes to recognize the contributions of these individuals, and whereas District 200 has benefited as a result of these accomplishments, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of Woodstock Community Unit School District 200 hereby bestows special recognition and a certificate of achievement on behalf of the citizens of the district.
Okay, motion by Mr. Parisi, do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Headley. Roll call, please.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Casali?
Yes.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Holmove?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes.
All right, we're going to ask you to call your name to please come up front. We'll get group pictures for each group first. From Prairiewood, our 5th grade, Altruismo House for your food drive. Everybody come on up. Good job. All right, how about someone holds the certificate in the middle? And we'll get a big picture of the group right up here. Oh, we move back there so your parents can go up too, okay? Move back up against the board, if you don't mind. Parents, feel free to come up front, center, do the picture. All right, big round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to honor our SAT scores of 1,300 or higher. First, we'll do Woodstock High School. If they call your name, please come get your certificate and stay up for our picture. First, Ana Almeida. Clap it off. Yeah. Caroline Arnold. Chloe Belmore. Emma Brand. Emma Colby. Riley Godwin. Christopher Crenshaw. Susie Crenshaw. Hayden Doherty. Fiona Frawley. Aaron Lockwood. Montserrat Mendez. Lacey Mickle. Kara Orndal. Reagan Rockwood. Alexander Rodriguez. Emily Schroeder. Angelina Scolio. Liam Spear. Caitlin Stepanidis. Corlin Tope. Tyler Waterston. Big round of applause for Woodstock High School. Parents want to come up and get a picture, please feel free. All right, big round of applause for the Now Woodstock North, 1,300 ET score. All right, Keegan Gibbons. Marco Gonzalez. Nathan Jansen. Andrew Johnson. Lauren Lee. Delore. Devereaux Meadows. Anthony Manchula. John Massman. Carter Miller. Alex Muley. Olivia Piglicelli. Jared Ritter. Alex Vergara. Kyle Zhang. Woodstock card, 1300. All right, so now we're Illinois State Scholars. First, from Woodstock High School, Alexandra Papadopoulos. I know, that's what I heard. Correct, absolutely. Congratulations. You want it, so it's up to you.
I don't know if she's gonna like that or not, but okay.
Whatever you want. Caroline Arnold. Chloe Belmore. Hannah Berry. Emma Brand. Emma Colby. Christopher Crenshaw. Susie Crenshaw. Fiona Frawley. Hunter Hack. Aaron Lockwood. Montserrat Mendez. Washington, D.C. Kara Orndal. Rashad Patel. Reagan Rockwood. Alexander Rodriguez. Emily Schroeder. Angelina Scolio. Liam Spear. Corlin Toth. Tyler Watterson. Cameron Wormley. Great job, great job. All right, parents, feel free to come on up. We'll get a big picture. Woodstock High School Illinois State Scholars. All right, now we have our Woodstock North High School Illinois State Scholars. Robin Brown. Aiden Folletti. Keaton Gibbon. Abigail Hartman. Jamie Heck. Andrew Johnson. Lauren Lee. Weather Lancheski. Deborah Madaus. Anthony Manchula. John Nassman. Carter Miller. Alex Muley. Kevin Cancio. Samantha Parrish. Lydia Piglicelli. Jerry Ritter.
Okay, we are going to move into the remainder of our business in just a moment, but since most of you are probably here for recognition, we're going to take a moment and let those who don't wish to stay for the rest of the business file out. You're welcome to stay. We'd like to have you. You're welcome to hear what goes on. But if you don't want to be here, give you a couple minutes to move out.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Why are you referring to me?
Okay, next item on our agenda is our communications. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board as well as for the board to make comments and the staff to make comments. We'll start with public, any members of the public who wish to address the board. Nobody has signed up. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board at this time? Okay, do we have any board comments? The board wishes to address the board at this time. Okay. Staff comments, any staff comments? Okay, then we'll move into our superintendent's report.
I want to remind the board and all our community members, the annual Mr. 200 Education Foundation dinner auction will be Saturday, February the 8th, here in Woodstock in Davidson School. Tickets include dinner, and the night includes silent live auction items. Our foundation works to support current students through mini grants every fall. This year, the winner of the Sue Palmore Award of Excellence is former superintendent teacher and principal Bob Hackman. Join us on February 8th if you're available for a great evening and a great cause. I want to make the board aware and offer them the opportunity to attend the National School Conference in Chicago on April 4th through 6th. The National Conference rotates throughout the nation yearly. That's in Chicago for 10 number of years, enough years.
All right, our next item then is our monitoring report, which is the professional learning communities update.
Okay, so tonight Ryan Hart, Principal at Westwood, is going to talk with all of you a little bit about our professional learning communities, or more commonly known as POCs to the teachers. and talking about how we have these structures really throughout the district at all of our schools to provide for collaboration among staff to help support academic and social emotional students.
It's not a very flashy topic, but I think all the elementary principals would agree that it is very fundamental to our success at the elementary level, this collaboration, this time for staff to really share ideas and talk about students, but also their instructional practices. So the way they're structured at the elementary level is teachers meet by common grade level weekly for an hour, and that is part of their work day. It's not before school, it's not after school, it's during the day, during the school day, while the students are in specialist classes. And they're consistently tied to the professional development that we have going on in our buildings, but there are openings left in the schedule throughout the year for the needs that come up throughout a school year, needs that come up for our staff, and needs that come up for our students. And instructional specialists do participate in these and are invited to participate in these as needed for grade level idea sharing as well. And I'll talk in more detail about that in just a moment. But a typical PLC is guided by 4 questions. What is it we expect our students to learn? How will we know when they have learned it? How will we respond when some students do not learn it? And how will we respond when some students already learn it? And that's at the top of every PLC agenda. There's something else that's at the top of every PLC agenda, and that's the teacher's individual areas of focus, professional focus, goals that they've set for themselves at the beginning of the school year. And then, of course, topics are also driven by our SIP goals that all of us put together every year. So we also have 5 problem-solving meetings throughout the year. The staff, at these meetings, they review student data, and they discuss students that need additional support and academic interventions. The people that attend these are really, at this point, relegated to literacy. At the elementary level, of course, reading is extremely important, that we pass our students on to the middle school and high schools, able to learn at grade level and read at grade level. But people that attend this are, of course, the teachers themselves, myself, but also reading specialists, learning behavior specialists, speech-language specialists, bilingual specialists, and school psychologists right alongside the classroom teachers. And then some of our PLCs are devoted to acceleration and social-emotional learning. It's primarily math acceleration discussions that we have for identifying students at the beginning of the year and then checking in on them throughout the year. And at each of those meetings, our district-wide enrichment coach attends. And then, of course, social-emotional learning and behavior check-ins do take place throughout the year. And the people that attend those are our social worker and our district-wide behavior coach. And very, very helpful to these discussions, both at the all students level, our second step program at the elementary level, as well as our social-emotional learning groups that are more individualized and not for every student, but students that need it. Problem-solving, classroom management, and that changes year to year. In a self-contained setting like elementary, some years you have different classroom management needs, and so we talk about those year to year. And then individual behavior intervention plans are something that we touch on at the very beginning of the year before the teachers even start working with the students. But then we also check in with those throughout the year to see how it's going. And we do that in these PLC meetings. So they really are fundamental to our success. Not something that the students are a part of, but they're driven by the students and their needs. So, any questions?
Any board members have any questions?
Well, your PLCs, the teachers meet in your building. Do they ever get a chance to meet with the other teachers from the other buildings in the same court?
That's a great question. That doesn't happen during PLCs, but that does happen during late starts. We have about 10 late starts throughout the year, and about 3 of them are devoted to inter-building collaboration. Westwood's a prime example of the need that you just brought up. At Westwood, we have a monolingual teacher, a dual English teacher, and a dual Spanish teacher at each grade level. And so they all kind of are singletons, so to speak. So Westwood absolutely loves those late starts that we devote to them. Because, they wind up, even though they teach the same grade level, sharing ideas at the same grade level, doing something different in their own classroom.
It's just hard to feel because of the time constraint.
Yeah.
We'll put them in, but the right side, we try to get them together as much as possible. And like, that's what we're having.
So I've heard this term now for probably as long as I've been on the board, and I'm not really clear on what exactly it is. And I'm not sure what your description of your, what you said, I'm really clear. So the PLC, it sounds like it's a collaboration among teachers within the grade level. But then you also talk about math acceleration. You also talk about reading. You also talk about this and that and the other thing. How do all those things work together as part of the PLC? I mean, is it, you know, one week we're going to meet and just discuss what we talked about, and then the next week we need to have a math accelerator come in and talk. Next week we need to have a reading accelerator come in and talk, or do they come and go, or how do they all kind of work?
So one thing to think about first is that it revolves around the student. And it's a group of professionals, you know, community, right? Teachers, the specialists, it revolves around the needs of the students. So right, you know, that really, given week, it could be that students need math acceleration, so we're going to talk about that. It could be a speech and language aid, we bring specialists there. It could be a reading specialist be able to come in and say, hey, here's an intervention we tried somewhere else. So, I mean, the PLC really is our staff at a grade level, with our teaching staff and our expanded staff, revolving around the needs of the kids on a weekly basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about the elementary level, compared with the middle and high school level, an elementary teacher for that group of students is the math department, is the literacy department, is the science department, all rolled into one because it's a self-contained setting. And so yes, the topics do change week to week, and that's driven by the fact that even though math might seem unrelated to reading, it's driven by the fact that those teachers are still teaching both those subjects to all the students. And so when you look at the topic list for a full school year, it might seem disjointed, but it's all, like Dr. Moon said, it's all driven by the students' needs and the students that they have in front of them that they're working with.
I think as teachers too, they see it as their opportunity really to take the lead on the needs that their students have. So when we talk about, you know, anytime we've done any kind of implementation of reading or math, that's their time also to reach out and say, hey, you know, if this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, how does that work? We bring Jackie in to help with reading, or Tracy with math, or Jackie with math. So it's a teacher's time too, to really have an input on how things are going and what they need in the classroom for their students as well.
Yeah, that's valuable to say because action steps are taken based on these conversations for future professional development.
So the various groups you talk about that maybe influence that, those are more on an as-needed basis, whereas the PLC groups are meeting every single week,
Exactly.
no matter what. Okay.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Right? All right, no more questions. So thank you for coming in and explaining. We don't have any unfinished business, so we're going to move into our new business. First item on our new business is approval of fees for 2020-2021. Yeah.
So starting on page 61 are the student fees for the proposed 2021 school year. We're looking at asking for increases to just the basic registration fees to go up $5 for all grade levels. We're not increasing any of the co-curricular or any of the athletic or activity passes, anything like that, just the basic registration fee. And we have asked this every other year, so we did not ask for any increases last year.
Sorry, does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the approval of fees?
The only thing we do every year is food. We take food up.
Right, so this is just the first page. I was going to go through the next one, actually. So the next page is food service. And that is a nickel increase for breakfast, lunch, after-school snacks. No increase in beverage use. And we usually go up a nickel every year because, of course, costs are increasing, but also to stay in compliance with the National School Lunch Guidelines. They have some guidelines as far as how much we have to charge and so on. So that's the food service fees. And then the next one, the next page, 63, is Kids Club fees. And here, we're actually asking to decrease the school year fees to be more competitive with other programs in the area, but then increase the summer school fees to be in line with other programs and to be able to offer better activities and field trips during the summer. And the director in Croyer said that the summer school rates, even if they're going up like this, are still considerably less than similar programs. And then the final page is the out-of-district tuition rates. And these are actually based on actual costs for people in these specific programs and then the enrollment. And then there's a State Board of Education document that we use to calculate these program costs, and we're not allowed to go over what those program costs are, so we try to stay below, and be reasonable with our increases. Are there any questions?
Any other board members have any questions regarding the change to the rates? Change to fees? If not, there's a suggested motion on page 60 of your materials.
Move to approve the 2020-2021 student fee increases as printed in the board agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Parisi, seconded by Mr. Headley. Roll call, please.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Maselli?
Yes.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes. Okay, then we're on to our second quarter review of the 2019-2020 budget.
Okay, so page 66 is the education fund, and on the far right is the box we're going to focus on, and it's labeled 2019-20. And these are budget to actual as of 12/31, so 50% through the school year or fiscal year. First line is property taxes, and we receive 48.2%, and this would be taxes received from July 1st through December 31st, and it's really tax distributions from the 2018 levy. So now the 2018 levy is final, and in total we'll receive 99.7% of our levy, because there's always, uncollectible taxes that people don't pay. We never receive 100%. But that does complete the 2018 levy, and then starting in May, we start receiving taxes from the 2019 levy. The next line is tuition, and we received just under 40% of that line. Interest, we received just under 50%. Activity admission fees, we received 38.6%. Registration fees, 34%. And then other, 28%. So in total, our local revenues we received 47.1%. Our state revenues under general state aid, we received 49.1%. We are receiving those general state aid funds regularly, twice a month. There's been no issues for a couple years now. And then the categoricals is basically the private facilities for the driver ed fees, and so we are receiving those as well. And then finally, under federal grants, which is room and board and Medicaid reimbursement, we receive 65.8%. So in total, for all revenues, we receive 48.1%. And then under expenditures, we've spent 45.1%. So we're about 5% under budget at this time of the year. Are there any questions on the ed fund? Next page is operations and maintenance. Same scenario with property taxes, we receive 48.2%. CPPRT is 0, but we wait until the third and fourth quarters to book those revenues. Interest, we receive 45.2%. Activity fees, which is really parking fees, we receive 69%. Building rentals are only 12%. It's down a little bit. We need to look into that and find out what's going on there. Other, which is mostly gas sales to the city, is 63.3%. In total, local revenues, we received 46.6. State revenues, we don't book that until the fourth quarter. So in total, we received 41.1%, and we spent 48.4, so about 1.6% below our target. And down under the box is our utilities, and that shows that we spent 42.1% of our budget, so we're under our target there as well. Any questions? And the transportation fund, same scenario with property taxes. We received almost 71% of our interest budget. Fees, which is field trips and grant reimbursements, we received about 62.8%. And other, which is fee busing, is 70%. Then under state, that's our transportation reimbursement claim, and we received 2 installments. So we received last year's fourth quarter and into the first quarter. So those funds are coming in regularly as well. And so in total revenues, we received 52.3%, and we've expended 51.2%. So we're about 1.2% over our target. But as I always say, it's because we buy the buses in July, and then that has to be itself out over the next 12 months. The next agenda item talks about buying 1 bus, and you can see there under the capital outlay line, we have a budget of $595,000, and we spent $509,801, so we have available money in the budget to purchase the bus that's on the next agenda. Is there any questions there? The last page is the insurance fund. And at the end of December, there is $1.114 million in the fund balance, and we've spent 47.6% of our budget. So, looking at all of the operating fund and insurance fund, we're right on target as of December 31st.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Lisa regarding the second quarter budget? Any questions, comments, concerns? This is an informational item, so we don't need to vote, so we'll move on to our next item. This is the approval of policy revisions for first reading.
Today for our first reading, we have 24 policy updates. These policy updates all come from the Illinois Association of School Boards, their service called PRESS, which is the Policy Reference Education Subscription Service. There's all types of policy updates. Some come from legislation, some come from their continuous improvement process, where they're reviewing a certain number of these policies every term to make sure there's improvements where needed. Some are word changes, some are subheading changes, and some of them, again, are new requirements or new procedures. Three I'd like to just kind of look at today. First one would be 270, vacancies on the Board of Education, filling vacancies. This changes the time frame for filling a board vacancy from 45 days to 60 days. That's an example of one of the changes. Another one, if you looked at policy 660, curriculum content. This policy was updated to include a new requirement that starting in the 2021 school year, either grade 6, 7, or 8, students must receive at least 1 semester of civics education. And the final one I'd like to highlight would be 7150, agency and police interviews. This is updated in response to new legislation, and that provides certain procedures that must take place before a law enforcement officer, school resource officer, or school security person detains and questions a student on school grounds. So it's to be just an example of 3 of those types of changes.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. McIntyre regarding any policy changes or any comments? Okay, if not, there is a suggested motion on page 771 in the material for a board motion. If everyone wants to look at the
or they'll all come back for a second meeting too. So there's the opportunity then to pull something again.
Just motion is on page 71 in the materials of the board book.
Move to approve the recommended revisions to policy 220, 270, 2100, 2105, 2110, 2200, 2220, 2260, 415, 430, 460, 480, 510, 520, 520E, 530, 550, 5120, 660, 6150, 6300, 720, 7150, 7180, and 830 for a first reading.
Second.
So you did that quite well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Maselli?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes. Okay, and then as Risa alluded to in her report, the last item of new business is the approval of the bus purchase.
This is the cost for replacing a 2007 bus. The damage was going to be nearly $20,000 to fix it, about $60,000 to buy a new one. We did a cost analysis and didn't think it was worth putting money into an older bus. You can see the one we're buying there, about 17 points. This is a smaller one, 22 passenger with a lift, wheelchair bus with air conditioning, extra conditioning. And as we said, we budgeted the money to buy it this year.
I have a question. Who had room to keep the buses in the door? That's what I don't know.
I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Right. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions or concerns regarding the bus purchase? So you said it's a 27 bus, 2007 bus?
One we're replacing, yeah.
With anyone else?
181,000.
More important to buy the amount of money it costs to generate. We didn't think we could.
Is it damaged?
Yeah, the engine.
Oh,
Yeah, the engine, I'm sorry.
okay.
So to rebuild the engine is about $20,000. As opposed to $60,000.
Okay, the suggested motion on page 150 of your materials or book.
Move to approve the purchase of one used special education bus from Central States Bus Sales Incorporated for a total price of $62,900.
Second. Motion by Mr. Parisi, seconded by Mr. Maselli.
Sure.
Mr. Maselli, roll call, please.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Maselli?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes. Okay, that's all our new business. So our next item then is committee reports. Do any committees have anything to report or have any committees met since our last board meeting? Mr. Parisi is working hard on getting us our board donation for the
Yeah, I should mention that.
foundation dinner.
Yeah, last year we donated a 2-night stay at the Cherry Tree Inn for Groundhog Day. That is not available through the inn this year. They are donating 2-night stay any other time during the year. I'm gonna put together a package around that, probably with a dinner, massage, that kind of thing, and I'll be back with what we need to contribute in the next one.
The building trades committee met, basically were approving items to on colors and stains and cabinetry. It seems like it's coming along pretty well. It was a a lot of work that's a big mess. So it looks, the work that's been done, it looks really well. I'm really proud of that. It's been like the bathrooms. So, and replace the stairs, all the siding. There's been, huge expense to do it, but it'll look nice now, and hopefully that will never happen again.
You expect it's going to be sold this up for sale at the end of the year?
Oh, yeah, they'll be discounts. Let me like spring. Typically, that open house and not graduation, can't be there, so.
Great, good, thanks for the report. Do we have any other committee reports? Okay. All right, then the next item on our agenda is to move into closed session. I need a motion for that. Again, please repeat the language exactly as it's put in the motion on your materials. Board member.
Move to go into closed session for the purposes of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees in the district.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Mr. Parisi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Masali?
Yes.
Mr. Headley?
Yes.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes. I guess we're meeting in that room over there as opposed to this one over here. There's a problem with that room.
Was it one they built and found out? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you cut it already? They will be back.